What is up, YouTube? And today we have the skill preview for the new LDSSR Plume, who is coming out after the Nymphonial and also the Batsby banners. Now her design really looks like a green character, which is pretty interesting because she was actually teased as a green character, but you're going to see that she's a dark character. And I know I kind of like skipped ahead here, but if you look at the bottom, you're going to see that her S3 will dispel enemy buffs and apply defense down and weakness. So weakness isn't the same as vulnerable, which is what I initially thought, but you're going to see that later on that weakness is a different type of debuff that is going to be pretty decent as well. You'll see that her S2 is going to stack Curse Quill, which is her unique passive debuff that will increase the damage dealt by allies, and you're going to see that her S1 is an AoE attack that will allow her to, as they say, quickly apply Curse Quill to all enemies. They say that she's going to be very good in high difficulty PvE and PvP. Now, I don't really know what this means because last time they said this, it didn't go according to plan, I think, on their end. But we can assume that she'll be good in high difficulty PvE and PvP, just basically with her S3D spells and also her debuffs. So let's actually look at her skills more in depth here. You'll see that her S1 is an AoE attack. And then it applies one stack of Curse Quill for one turn. And then Curse Quill is basically going to be a debuff that will increase damage that you take and also apply speed down. So I don't really know if this is like a speed down on the Curse Quill or if this S1 attack is also applying an AoE speed down, because it's like showing the indicator for like the speed down debuff. So I'm not really sure if that's tied in with the Curse Quill or if it's a separate debuff. But regardless, very, very strong. Next, we have our S2. It's a passive skill. It's going to be one of the only characters with a passive S2 outside of, like, dieting and stuff like that. And then you're going to see that, when an enemy is debuffed, they will gain Curse Quill, which is her debuff that we just talked about. And then the second part is after each enemy takes action, you're going to give turn meter to all your allies. So that sounds pretty broken, right? Let me read this again. So basically, her S2 is a passive. When an enemy is debuffed, they gain Curse Quill, and after each enemy takes a turn, you just get AoE turn meter to all your team. Is that correct? That sounds extremely, extremely OP. And then we have this S3, the ultimate. It's a 3-hit AoE attack, so it could be good with Revelation for Cleave. It dispels enemy buffs, so you have a Dispel, which is going to be very good because there's not a lot of good dispellers right now for Cleave, outside of like Heinrich and stuff like that, right? And Obel, and then you'll apply defense down a weakness. So she's going to be insanely strong in Cleave because she has the Dispel and a defense down, and you're going to see that weakness is going to reduce the damage dealt by the target. So it's basically like hacking progress, but you don't get that extra damage. So honestly, this character looks pretty insane just because, she just looks like she has everything, right? For support, you have AoE damage, which probably doesn't really matter. But the biggest thing is you have an AoE like debuff of Curse Quill. You have to remember this will make you just do more damage and also make them slower, which is great. And then you have the S2 as well, right? The passive ability. This is going to be super strong because it's going to make it so that when an enemy is debuffed, they also will get this Curse Quill, making like Doki Doki one-shot super easy as well because you're just getting this extra debuff to do more damage. And you're just turn cycling a lot quicker for a lot of content for just PvE content, right? And even for PvP, she looks like she's going to be amazing in like a Cleave control team comp because she has a Dispel, she has a defense break, she makes the enemies do less damage, and I think this unit is going to be one of the best units in the game. I don't want to say God tier because we don't see her numbers yet and we haven't really, actually tested her at all. But just looking at her kit, even though it might not be apparent that she's going to be very strong, in the current PvP meta, she's definitely going to be extremely powerful for the already powerful Cleave and CC teams. And honestly, she'll probably be good in like standard Bruiser as well because of how strong her Curse Quill actually looks. You have to remember, it's basically you're just doing more damage and you're taking less damage. So, people were predicting that Kloss would be God tier in PvP because of how strong her debuffs were. But Plume's like Curse Quill acts similar to Hacking Progress and Hackin'. And her kit is just way better suited for PvP, right? Because of that Dispel, defense down, and stuff like that. So I think this character is definitely a good character. I'm very, very, very happy that she's a support and not a DPS. This means that when I showcase her to you guys, I don't have to invest super heavily without deciding if I wanted to go like all the way for PvP. So yeah, when she does come out, I'll definitely be pulling for her. I'm very close to pity already. I'll be showcasing her in all the PvE content because I think a lot of people are still struggling with PvE. And of course, I'll be testing her in PvP as well for you guys, so you guys can see if she will be good there as well. However, there's another character that's actually coming out. She is an SR character, and you're going to see that it is Hizuki Mari, another waifu. And they're saying that she's a control type animist. She has her S3, which puts Petrify and Resistance down. If you guys actually did the one Anasync Echo stage with Beyontin, you guys know what I'm talking about. Petrify is very, very annoying. It's pretty much like a stun, and it's gonna be a very good character for, once again, like aggressive PvP cleave CC players, because she also buffs your attack, and you're gonna see that it's pretty good. But she looks pretty cool design-wise. She's going to be a counter to healers in PvP, as you'll see. Her S1 is going to be a single target attack, which will have a chance to apply turn meter, which is going to be just okay. Her S2 is a passive aura, so this is going to be an insane ability. You have to check this out. Basically, she gives everyone on the battle attack plus, or basically like an attack bonus. And then after that, all the units are also going to just reduce the healing received. And you're also going to see that allies cannot be buffed with attack boost either. So basically, this is going to slow down the meta by, not slow down the healing by a lot, which will speed up the meta and like the length of the games that are happening. So she looks like an amazing character. You know, she's going to be very good for people that don't want to sit there fighting for like 10 minutes in PvP. And I think you're going to see that she's going to be picked very frequently into those like heal stall comps, which people are kind of abusing, especially in like Fearless Arena. So definitely a good character for that. Now you'll see that her S3 is a 2-hit AoE attack. This will give Petrify and Resistance down to the enemies. This is going to be very good for not just Doki Doki only, but also very good here too. But anywhere you want to CC, and honestly, you could probably pair her with Plume and she'll be very good as well. But yeah, this is the new SR character. I do believe this will also be on the Plume banner, so you can get her as well. But this character looks pretty insane, right? I think just the fact that her passive in her S2 just not only gives everyone attack, which is cool, but also reduces healing. It's going to be very, very strong, right? Because, you know, you're going to make it so that you can actually speed up the battles by a lot and not just get heal stalled. However, you have to realize that the secondary part of it, the secondary effect, you cannot get buffed with attack buffs. So you have to keep that in mind, because if you're trying to cleave, you aren't going to benefit from the attack buffs from like Beyontin, from like Nymphonial and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of weird how she'll be used. I think for sure she'll be used in cleave because you stop healing and you have those like, you know, AoE CCs, which will be very good for cleave and control. But in Bruiser mirrors, it's going to be hard to see. I think what you'll end up doing with her in PvP is like, if you're playing like a standard Bruiser playstyle mirror and they just like pick healers on 1-2 when they're like second pick to try to pinch you from healers, you can just pick her and ban protect, and the enemy's pretty screwed, right? Because they'll have 2 healers that just heal a lot less. So yeah, that's what I think about her. I think she's an amazing character. She'll be an SR character. You get her for free basically by pulling on the Plume banner, and she's going to be a character that you'll use a lot in PvP, and I'll be testing her in PvE as well for you guys. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.